Well, now to Brazil, where preparations are well underway for the 2016 Summer Games. Yet this week, the country's past links to the slave trade have been the focus of a meeting aimed at preserving Brazil's heritage. A site that was the arrival point for 500,000 slaves was recently uncovered in Rio de Janeiro. Now it could be included on UNESCO's World Heritage List. For the black community, it's a chance to highlight the city's African heritage while trying to ensure it's preserved. From Rio de Janeiro, Quentin Somerville reports.
For years in Rio's old port, the crane stood still and all was quiet. But with some help from an Olympic deadline, all of that is about to change. There will be new museums, better public spaces, and this highway will disappear underground. But much of this area's future is built on grim foundations, as the recent renovations uncovered. And right here, they've made an extraordinary discovery. This was a quay where slaves from Africa would arrive in Brazil. They'd walk along these cobblestones into a life of servitude and misery. Some 500,000 souls who worked on the coffee plantations and the sugar plantations of Brazil. The sea once lapped against these stones. Then it was the largest of many arrival points for the millions who were enslaved. From the centuries-old mud, the lives of the first Afro-Brazilians are re-emerging. A child's tiny bracelet and a single earring, perhaps from Mozambique.
It's a small jewel box that is very rare to find, difficult to find, with 1,700 small beads.
This neighbourhood was called Little Africa. Long gone are the buildings where slaves were fattened and then sold on. And here, on Pedro Ernesto Street, the fate of those who made it no further has been uncovered. MERCED GUIMARAES was carrying out work at her home when builders found a graveyard of the slaves who died after the long voyage from Africa. The discovery still moves her. Here you see two things: the lack of respect during life and the lack of respect during death. They didn't have graves. Their bones were broken up and thrown away as if they were trash. A few blocks away is the Pedra de Sal. It's the birthplace of samba. Most of the residents here are poor. More than half are Afro-Brazilian. LUIZ Torres is one of the founders of the Pedra de Sal Quilombo, a group that preserves the area's African heritage, which he says is under threat. They are disappearing our traditions. The new investments in the region, they haven't valued our traditions. They've been more interested in looking at the years of slavery than our African heritage. Above, on Morro da Providencia, is the city's oldest favela. A new cable car is being built. It will make it easier getting up here, but hundreds of families will see their homes disappear as the neighbourhood is renovated. Drawing tourists into these lanes, of course, provides opportunities. From this once derelict building, Nildelaine dos Santos sells her sweets and cakes throughout the neighbourhood. There's a restaurant opening here locally. I'll provide the sweets, she tells Giovanni Harvey. His organisation helps Afro-Brazilian businesses get off the ground. He says that the port redevelopment could be a defining moment for the city. Rio's becoming a world-class city. Important discoveries like the Key of Valongo are helping us to better understand that our origins are black. The city has so far been shown to the world not as a black city. This was buried or stylised. Now, with these discoveries, it gives us a chance to re-examine the past and make links with the present. Rio isn't the first city to use the Olympics to try to bring life back to a forgotten neighbourhood. But history is already alive here. At Pedra do Sal, the African roots of this neighbourhood, the city run deepest. Celebrating, encouraging and honouring the African legacy here may yet turn out to be one of the grandest feats of the next Olympic Games. Quentin Somerville, BBC News, Rio de Janeiro.
The vibrant African heritage of Rio de Janeiro.